Very good afternoon and evening, everybody. I knocked the camera off about 2 seconds ago. So I say good afternoon and good evening because I said Leslie's here and Art's here, Dwayne's here, Dale's here, my bad. Um, Art, Dale, John, Steve, Leslie, and I see we got 710. Happy Columbus Day to everybody. It's been a minute since I have streamed. So I'm going to try to actually, I've got the camera set right here for a couple reasons. I can actually spin around and show y'all grill. All right. And it's a good view for this because I'm going to be working over here for most of the show. And let me see if I can pull this up. I'm hoping I'll be able to watch. Oh, I got to turn that down though. All right. I'll be able to watch chat with this. All right. And big announcement. Basically, the Helix, this Helix is coming out today. And it's coming out today because this Helix over here is almost ready. Before I do anything else, house volume and video and all that. Claude. Hey, Claude. Hey, Dave. Good to see y'all. I was hoping both of y'all would show up today. Thank you, John. Well, we're glad you were here. I promise you, I thought about both you and Dave because it's been a minute since I had to connect with y'all like this. And so I was hoping y'all had a chance to stop in. Unfortunately, my man Art wasn't able to get meat in the grill going today, but Dale did. I think Dale is grilling. So I don't know if we got a report on what he's making. I've got some chicken and some ribs on right now, right outside this door. And what I want to do is I do want to talk to y'all again real quick about the purpose of today. I'm tearing stuff up today, and I'm pretty good at that, like I said in the announcement. So I figured we'd go live. But there is a method to my madness. And I'll explain more about what I'm taking out and why and how I measured it. And I used a spreadsheet and everything for that. And so I'll talk to y'all about that in a bit too. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pan over and I'm going to give y'all, before Claude, Dave, I don't know if Dave's got to go, but before Claude goes, I'm going to pan over and give you a sneak peek of the Helix. As it is today, it's almost done. I have to put a right-hand turnout on level 5. And that is only for way down the line, not way down the line, but the extension. And that's going to be a minute before that happens, but I need to go ahead with the turnout in because I know it's going to be there. So I'm going to pan around and show y'all the Helix real quick. All right, y'all can say it. Ooh. Ah. Oh. Go ahead. Ooh. Ah. Oh. Okay, that's it. You'll have to see the rest on the video. All right. And it is, I'm using beans. I started out with shish kebab skewers, and they worked real well up to a certain point. And they actually started getting a little flimsy. And they started, basically, I was having to look for some that were even longer. So I actually went to Michael's and got some little small dowels like this. And these work real well because they're very uniform and they're not too much out of scale. They're not hard. They're just a tiny bit bigger than the shish kebab skewers. One of the things, though, is these were real good. They'd go all the way down through a lot of the levels. And any time I had this go through a level and another level and even another level, I was telling somebody the other day, it like cinched the whole thing up. I mean, it really does. When these beams go through multiple levels of that hardboard on the helix, it really creates a lot of stability. And the way it was designed, actually, the more I got these through there and got everything lined up, the more level the helix was as well. So what I did was, y'all feel free to ignore me, but what I did was I just put blue painter's tape over the track that I'm keeping over here, and paid careful attention to the turnout as well. And then what I did was I marked this table with inches this way, and then I marked this table right here coming out this way with inches as well. So basically, I made a grid, all right, with numbers going this way and this way. And then what I did was I made an Excel spreadsheet, all right, and on the Excel spreadsheet, I put in the table, okay, and I've got my numbers plotted everywhere on it. I just mentioned that. And so what I did was I've got an Excel spreadsheet, and I made cells for each inch. And then I went over here to the helix with the measuring tape, and I started measuring everything coming back and forth to the computer. And long story short, what I did was I made a spreadsheet with colored backgrounds that show me exactly where I have to have the scenery all pulled out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be nipping the track here and down here. Then this level, this decline right here, is going to get to drop down 3 inches, and that's awesome because that's going to help out a lot, I hope. But that's when I drop it 3 inches, it's going to marry the turnout on the curved turnout on the helix, which is things are going smooth now with that. So I'm going to be dropping this decline down 3 inches, and it's actually going to pretty much sit on one of these old supports, but then I'm going to have to look at that down the road, but just temporary. I'm going to drop that down, and then from here to here, all this is coming out. I actually got a kiddie pool outside, y'all, and I got Dawn soap and my hose, and I put a little water in it already, but I'm going to squirt some soap in there and fire it down in there, and I'm going to put this track in there to hopefully clean it up some. A lot of this track on this helix will be reusable for me because I just have it down with PVA. So I'm going to be doing that in that order. We'll be nipping, dropping, pulling this out. I'll probably just wet the track outside. I'll probably carry the helix, this old helix, outside and just wet it down so I can pull it off the cork before I start soaking it. And then I'll come back in, and at that point, that's when I'm going to start coming in here, and I'm going to be cutting out some of this mountain here. And I figured out pretty much exactly where I need to cut out the mountains, where I need to cut out this scenery. It does look like I'm not going to be affected with the terminus here or this water basin. And this is a little area where I wanted to do a scratch build little house, like my pretend house kind of, and I wanted to put it in here. So I'm glad that I'm not having to remove that little water basin or the terminus, obviously. The catch to this whole thing is getting all this right, where if I can get that helix, see, I can unscrew that table from it's attached to the bench. I can unscrew that and slide it down. It's very sturdy. I can pick it up and twist it and turn it. And so what I need to do is just make sure that I've got a real good bed for it to lay on. And once it's good and flat, the hard part here is just going to be this connection right here, where my Pico turnout is going to connect into the beginning of the modular helix. That's going to be the hardest thing for me to do once I get it set in and get it level, is just connecting that. And then I'll connect this right here to that turnout track that's coming off that turnout, and we'll be ready to roll from that point on. It's looking like it might work. I'm serious. Like I really didn't know if it was how it was gonna turn out. I didn't know if I was gonna end up scrapping the whole thing or not. But it really looks like it might work. Let's see what y'all say. All right, Claude, if you're still with us, yeah, I agree, Dave. Um, I am able to pick it up and spin it without another person, but I have actually asked a friend to come over and help me set that in. And so I think that's probably how it's going to work, which is really good too, because that's going to give me the whole week till he can come over. It's going to give me the whole rest of this week, actually, just to make sure that everything, check everything out and double check it and and measure again and that kind of thing. Because I can measure 2 or 3 times and still mess up. I'm good at that. Yeah, Leslie, I did. I bought the number 6, and the thing is, the best I could tell is a number 4. It's hard to, from my understanding, is it's really hard to make a comparison to the numbers in turn radius. But anything I did read that I could find on it loosely said a number 4 was about a 9-inch radius. And I've got about 11.5. It's designed to be at 11.5, and I tried to lay it just a tad bit even wider than that. So I did go with the number 6 to answer your question. And it's not a curve turnout because it is going to be at the end of the curve and coming into the straight over here where the extension is going to come up. And so what it's going to do is it's a right-handed turnout that's going to be backwards, and the turnout's going to finish the curve right here, and then the straight part will come out like this. Well, then, because I'm going to have a track that goes over this one and comes around and doesn't have to go through the helix. So down the road, I can have passenger cars. Um, Ultimately, my main line probably won't be anything you see today. Um, this is the heart and soul of the Iron Horse route, but the main line itself will probably run over this and down and around and over and back down. And hopefully I'll be doing that with a 6-axle PA and 14 passenger cars. And that'll be the ski train at that point. So, yeah. Bamboo is much stronger. And you know what, Claude? I didn't notice that because I mean, when I'm putting those things in there, I'm having to screw them down in because I kept those holes tight. And so I'm having to screw them down. And I broke a couple of the dowels doing that where the bamboo wouldn't have broken. One of the things I noticed is the bamboo is a little more flexible. And maybe that's why it doesn't break because it is a little more flexible. I did notice though when those dowels would go through 2 or 3 even of the levels that they're solid as long as they've got some support. Some of the longer dowels at the very end of the extension, that'll actually end up being laying on the bench anyway, so it won't matter. But I do worry about those being straight dowels at like 12 inches or 11.5 inches long because they will break, whereas the bamboo ones would be more flexible but probably wouldn't break. So there's a little give and take on them. Or at least that's my loose experience. Bamboo does not rot. Hey, Collins, how you doing? Collins Engage in the house. More fibrous, stronger, and more flexible. Exactly. Good for you, Claude. But I thought you said you were going to work. And Mr. Steve Arnold's with us. He has been from the get-go. Yeah, Yeah, buddy, it's good to see you. I'm not going to catch you back up, but what I'm getting ready to do is I'm getting ready to get to work. And so y'all can ignore me or whatever you want to do. I'm about to get the rail nippers and get in here and do it. Again, I'm not going to dare try to put this in live. That's no. I figured tearing this out, I could handle going live doing that. But I think actually Steve Arnold and I had some miscommunication earlier this morning, and when I talked to him about going live, I think he thought that I meant I was putting this in live today, and I was like, no, I don't. I'm not that brave, y'all. Not at all. I'm not. So I'm getting ready to cut, and I'm kind of going to just take my time. I'm going to try to almost pretend that y'all aren't watching, because maybe you're not. Maybe you watch a chat. So, but I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Matter of fact, one thing I have not done yet, and so let me show you the grill. We are going to have a light issue. It's going to be, the light's going to be bright coming through there. I didn't want y'all to have any doubts that I was fronting. I am really grilling while we're live, while I'm doing work over here. We almost need some music. Might have copyright issues, you know. That could affect all my monetization and all the money I have kind of come in from this video. Overexposure. Overexposure. That was the word I was looking for. All right, so a little grill talk. What I've done on the grill today is I've got some chicken thighs, I've got some chicken legs, and they were real inexpensive, so I bought those. And I'll probably freeze some of them and eat some of them. I also got a rack of ribs. And so what I do is I do the snake method for my charcoals. And I don't use lighter fluid. I get little sticks from the woods, and I start a little fire. And what I do is the grills like this, I just line the edge of the grill all the way around with coals, making sure that they're touching and there's nothing in the very center. And then I light the little fire on the bottom of the single side here. And then what that does is that gets 8, 10 coals, maybe even 6 or 8 coals lit and going. And since they're all touching and go all the way around, that will do, what that does is that keeps like 8, 10, 12 coals going at one time, and that's all. So you get a very low temperature that way. You can cook, I can keep it around 225, 220 if I try real hard, and I've got everything closed down real good. And that'll actually cook like that for about 8 hours, because it takes a long time for that thing to snake all the way around. And what happens is each coal, as it's going out, is starting the other ones. You get what I'm saying? Works well. I do that when I'm smoking meat for sure too, because sometimes I like to let pork shoulder go for 24, 26 hours at 200 if I can keep it that low. All right. I'm going to cut here and down here. What I'm going to do almost certainly is I'll be laying a new piece of track from here down to where this turns straight. and soldering into the joint here. So what I'll do, because I've got snap coming off that turnout, I'll put a new piece of flex into that, and I'll have that new piece of flex come around this turn, and I'll actually probably end up cutting somewhere in this straight, but I'm not going to cut it there now. These are not Xenon rail nippers. I wish I had Xenon rail nippers, but these work. All right, they really do. They don't work as good as those, I could tell, because they're just not as heavy, and I'm sure they don't make as quick and as sharp of a cut. But I can do a light little file with them, and I'm fine usually. Y'all don't talk about me. I'm watching in chat. All right. I told you this was going to be a pain down in here. All right. And if y'all have any suggestions other than don't do it, feel free to make them. Because don't do it's not an option anymore. All right. I am glad y'all can't see what I'm doing. All right, I got it. Okay. All right. Now I got that straight piece off my Pico turnout there, so I can cover that back up. And now is where anybody else having video problems? Hey, Black Mountain Station, good to see you. Sparky, what's up, dude? How are you, Mr. Sparky? Digger, good to see you. Thank you, Dave. Dave says that I have a good looking back. And one of the reasons I'm actually very happy I didn't have Xenon rail nippers right there is they're a lot bigger. They wouldn't have fit down there. So I would have ended up being upset about that, having to use that. Sparky, check out my Helix. I'm going to put that in next weekend where I'm tearing this one out now. You know what? That chicken, I'm not worried about that chicken. One of the good things about chicken thighs is you really can't hardly burn them, as long as they're not right under the coals, because they're juicy. They stay that way. You got to butcher them to overcook them. All right. One of the things that I've kind of thought about, and I don't know how I feel about it, is again, I got to drop this down, and I think I want to drop it down before I pull the rest out. Not sure why, but it seems to like that maybe should be what I do. So I'm going to actually come in here and do a little bit of cutting. We are clean here. All right. Y'all don't try this at home. Now, I want to go on record as stating that this might not turn out very good. I've understood that as when I drop this down, there could be some problems I hadn't thought about. I just don't know what. But at this point, we got to roll with it. It is going to catch for me right here, which is almost, it's funny, it's almost exactly where it's supposed to be. One of the things is I'll eventually replace this too, but it's going to be good to hold it for me until I do. Because it's just actually, I'm going to be able to put a lot of new supports. I'm going to have to cut a lot from down here as well. These things are invaluable. I'm going to cut myself with it now that I said that. I'm going to leave that one. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but you should never cut towards your hand, like I just did for a minute. I stopped. All right, so let's see what happens here. Well, one beam is holding that thing up. Well, one beam in this. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't expect that to go that well. So I've got that's going to give me 3 inches off of 8 feet. Okay, coming down that hill, which now, best I can tell, Okay. It just dropped down to 8. Now I might have to pull that down to 6.5, but I don't have to get it all the way down there just yet. But the curve turnout is it's going to connect at 7, as a matter of fact. Between 6.25 and 7, the curve turnout is going to connect to this. Right now, this is, when it dropped down, is, well, 7.5. So really, I've just got to pull a couple of these layers out right here, and I'll be groovy. There is actually a platform down here from a long time ago. All right, so somebody help me with some math. Hold on. To 35. And 27. So 8 inches and 8 feet. What's that downhill grade? 8 inches and 8 feet? Ooh, that still seems real high. God, but it was like 11 before. Hey, Stu Structures. That's a 10% downhill grade right now, Dave, at 8 inches. Dang. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so, okay. All right, well, then do the math for me on this. It was 11 inches and 8 feet before. So what was it before? I mean, just about everybody in here has seen trains coming down this thing a lot. You know, it works. I mean, it's bad for the locos, I know, but I mean, I bought 3 inches. I was happy about that, but I didn't realize I was still going to be at 10%. Now, mind you, that is going to be a freight line, not the main line, but dang, I really didn't realize that. I might see if I can drop that down anymore. Problem being is it's going to have to match up with the turnout. I'd be better at bringing this up, which I can do. I could bring this up some if I needed to before I brought this down much more. Not going to be able to do that. All right. I'm going to get emotional, y'all. A lot of trains ran around this thing. A lot of headaches running around this thing, but a lot of trains ran around this thing. Back in the day when this was when the Bachman was running around this thing, I'd let that Bachman run around here for hours and hours and hours because it had the big wheel flanges and it would never derail. And I only had 3 cars behind it. And I just let it run and run and run and run and run. So let's make sure that we have undone our electrical. Oh no, I'm missing a tool. It makes me mad. All right. Anyway, y'all, speaking of, somebody mentioned my chicken. I didn't even look at it. Oh, we good. The coals are lighting around the grill as they are supposed to in a nice fashion. We are about, best I can tell, about 2:30. I didn't put my, if I'm not actually smoking like 8, 10, 12 hours. I don't use my thermometers and stuff. So I do need to still locate. Here it is. Yay. I actually cleaned up out here real good today. One of the reasons I love going live is one of the things I always try to do is clean up a little bit out here before. And I've been doing a bunch of work out here. And so it's been like hard to find stuff and really cluttered and not comfortable and not happy. And I'm not like real obsessive about stuff, but if it gets like at a certain point, I'm just not happy. So I did some cleaning today because I thought we were going to be on, and I'm glad I did. I don't need to cut that one. And normally I would have this light on, but it really creates issues for these cameras. So I'm trying to do it without that. I'll tell y'all what, right here, I said more bad words in the last year because of right there. Way back in the day, when I first started, I put a vintage Atlas turnout right there. And from that day forward, trains have derailed right there, even though I pulled that turnout out after like 3 weeks. All right. And basically when it came out, I was pretty ugly to it. And never to this day have trains run great through that one place. So I'm not, my feelings aren't hurt about getting this out, y'all, because I'm going to tell you what's super relaxing for me is to be out here working. And now that I've been doing it a little bit longer, even more so, but to be out here working and to have a train running continuous loop, because I'm still new. I'm still not into switching a whole lot yet, but I figure I'm going to be one day. But I still like the trains to run around a continuous loop because I'm new. And so that is so relaxing to me when a train's not derailing. And even now, because like I said, I love them to go slow now. At first, I wanted them to go fast. That's kind of why I'm pretty sure I'm going to start liking to switch later, because y'all tell me I'm going to. And but a slow, longer train running through this thing is one of the most relaxing things in the world to me. And that's why I do this. This is extremely relaxing to me. And then the whole YouTube video thing is just a bonus. And then it helped me meet a lot of cool people and really just amplified what all this does for me. So that wasn't a rant. I don't know what that was. It was almost like a love letter, something. I feel like I'm in The Notebook. And that's not a movie I enjoy, by the way. I lost a bet one time, and I had to watch that movie. And I had to watch The Notebook in its entirety without looking at my phone. That was rough. Told y'all I can tear some stuff up. Whoa, man, that was stupid. I'm going to take it outside. I'm going to, later after the stream, I'm going to squirt it down and I'm going to soak and see what I can save. Some of this is pretty new track. Hey everybody, I'm pleased to announce it looks like we have reached 20 participants. Sparky hit 100 the other day. He's probably done it before and did a contest. I've never hit 20 before, I don't think. Maybe I have, I don't know. I don't think so. Yay, nobody leave. I appreciate all y'all for stopping in today. I really do. Oh, has anybody checked on Dale and he's grilling? Dale? Hey, Mike. Hey, RDNT, good to see you too. Hey, Roy. That's Roy H. Not to be confused with Roy S. That's Roy H. Mike's in here now. Bill, there's Bill too. Yay. And then we got Fork and Spoon in as well. Dale is up there. Art's here. Leslie's here. Steve's here. John's here. Sparky was here. I don't know if he's there. Sparky, he's still here too. All right, I'm tearing stuff up, guys. You know what I need to do? I need to show y'all my thing. Let me get to my email and see if I can show y'all my deal that I made. Well, if it was right, that would be nice. I'm gonna put it in my notes. See, because this isn't wanting to work like should be wanting me to show you. Dang it. Where's my notes? Here. Notes. All right. That's not working. So, what I did was I have over here on my computer, I got a spreadsheet that tells me exactly what has to come out. If you just tuned in, what I did was I've got the helix over here, and I'm gonna show everybody real quick. We'll pan to the helix. That's about to go in. Pan back. And so what I did was I marked this table by inches, this way and this way. So I've got chart points. Chart points isn't the right thing. I play so I can plot points. All right. So I've got them marked inches this way and this way, wrote it on the table. All right. So then I went and made an Excel spreadsheet with the same amount of boxes, and I drew the table in, and I also put in the measurements of the helix and on top of that. So I know what's got to come out here. Then I measured where all the freestanding beams come down, because what I need to do is go ahead and pull this stuff out of there too, because the flatter bed that I have down here, when I move that in, the better chance I am of going to having it, keeping it level. Because that whole thing right now, if I don't jack it up, is level. All right, so what we doing? How are we on time? 5:16. Nate goes on in 45 minutes. Hey, Paul, good to see you, buddy. Somebody let me know if Nate goes on in 45, because we're going to get off about 15 shy of that for sure. All right. Somebody just, if y'all would, somebody, we got 23 folks in there. Somebody check on that. I don't want to get into his stream. All right. I have more to pull up, and then I'm gonna go in and cut. I got a lot of cutting of great stuff, foam, that I'm gonna have to get out of there as well. And I probably am going to need a trash can. And I'm going to put a new bag in there because this is not necessarily going to be trash. I could reuse some of them in here, so let's do that. This piece down here actually was here for the whole year. One of the first pieces of track I put together was this after the oval, right down here. And I didn't have a lot of derailment problems here. I actually did have a derailment problem down there one time, but that's because over time that great stuff foam continues to grow, even if it's just that much. And it expanded one time due to temperature change, humidity change, something, and my loco started just barely nudging it. And man, I was derailing it under there, and that drove me crazy for a while. I actually almost think I had gotten under there with the camera, and Dave or Claude noticed that it was barely touching me. And anyway, so I didn't pull my hair out, and that was an easy fix. You know, a lot of times those kind of issues are easy fixes, and I want to complicate them. I really tried to stop doing that so much. A lot of times, particularly the first 6 months I was in the hobby, I made more boo-boos trying to fix problems. I created more than I fixed. But one of the things, I'm getting better about that now, and I take it slow, and I'll really just kind of sit back and think about things a lot longer before I start trying to fix them, because a lot of those things were expensive. Prime example, Dave, those Kato trucks. Learned a lesson there. So I mean, you know, I did a lot of I did some things right. I'm still modeling, so I guess I did some things right. Boy, I sure am glad I cleaned up out here for me to tear all this stuff out. It's going to get dirty again. I really am, actually, though. I am glad I cleaned it up, because it would have been unbearable. Maybe I'll try not to be so messy since it is cleaner out here. Anybody had Dale report on his grilling situation? No, is it Dwight? Yeah, Dwight. No, Dwight, if you're talking about my chicken, my grill's about 240, 230, so it's not burning. And it's not over the heat either. It's indirect. So, oh yeah, Paul, hold on, Paul. I'm gonna be putting that in next weekend. I hope. Waiting on one more turnout. Yeah, Dwight, I didn't want to be a liar, so I went and checked. Yeah, we looking all good. All right, so we've been going. Yeah, I know. Y'all are right. I'm not gonna argue that. Matter of fact, it is one of the reasons that I'm really glad my plans kind of evolved to where this is going to be not part of the main line and kind of an underbelly. And it's fun as heck to run trains on there. I'm going to tell you that right now. And it was fun as heck to make. And again, in regard to the fact that it does look like a roller coaster, um, you're right. I'm very glad I built it. I'm very glad to figure out that I might be successful building it. And with me going to have it under the main line, I'm all right with it. Now, that plan evolved, though, because initially I didn't know anything about this deal. And what I figured out was that I needed to get, this is thought about this before my train set even arrived. Now, why I didn't build the table higher is beyond me, but what I figured out was a way to get from this table up to that one. And that was going to require loops. And I had no desire to be anything near prototypical at the time. And I would like to, like I said, I don't want to be prototypical. I would like to run trains and model that area. I would like to run trains from that area and model that area. And if that's prototypical, then I am. But in regard to, um, you know, anything looking exactly like the prototype between Denver and Winter Park, I would say that other than when I get the ski train, the PA, and the passenger cars, and the area of Winter Park and Denver themselves, because I do want to eventually kind of have some kind of front-facing, facing model of Union Station, which would have to be tiny and only have to show one small portion and the rest be painted. But I would like to have some kind of Denver Union Station down here at some point, somehow. And then over here on this one, I want to have like a little, it's a part of Winter Park, the area. Matter of fact, the Iron Horse condominium complex. And in the 1950s, I don't even know if it existed, so it won't be prototype necessarily. But what I want is that area right there of the 1950s where it pops out of the Moffat Tunnel, which is within a half a mile from where the Iron Horse properties are. Sparky, did you get your inspection done? You got the electrical out there yet? And I'm sure you all saw, let's see, recent updates that I can talk about for people. I know Claude's got something coming out soon. He told me that in a comment. Steve Arno put out a nice video today of the sequence of his expansion in photos, and it really was actually kind of cool to watch that way. Maybe because it's a little bit of different, I don't know, but it was nice to watch. John got train running. School Kills got trains running over there now, and Dave BNSF N-Scale's been doing a lot of running trains and work at BNSF 6951 at his house. And I don't know, Dave, you just need a computer. And then he said he's got videos galore. Dave's channel is going to blow up once he gets a PC. Oh, speaking of, I may be able to use 2 cameras and or Logitech Capture in live streams by the end of next week. I have a friend's going to send me some RAM to see if it works. And if I can get that RAM to work in my system, it will double the amount of RAM that I have. And if that works, there's a real good chance that I'll be able to go live using Logitech Capture through the YouTube studio. And if that's the case, basically I can do pretty much anything just about any of the live streamers can do, with a few small exceptions. And I could go use OBS as well. My thinking on that is if I can use the Logitech Capture, that means I've got picture-in-picture, screen-in-screen. I can play YouTube videos during the streams like Sparky and them do, and those kind of things. Also, what it might afford me the ability to do is run 2 cams at once live. Not that that's really hugely necessary. The actual ability to play videos, do shout outs and those kind of things. Logitech Capture software is what comes with this camera right here. And what I've been basically waiting to do, other than having my schedule settle down as much as I can, is to be able to use the Capture software before I start going live on a steady basis. I'm going to find a time where I'm not in anybody else's hair, and that's going to be coming up soon. If the RAM upgrade works, the announcement for when I will be going live will be upcoming. Now, Sparky, I don't know if you're still with me, but you got a new gaming computer, and I imagine it's flying. Chazco, good to see you, Doug. Hey, man, how are you? You got a gaming computer, right, Sparky? And I'm going to try to keep up with chat a little better through the phone. Wait. Okay. Gotcha. I looked at some of the gaming PCs and they're pretty expensive. Although they look, uh, oh yeah, you told me that, Bill. But yeah, the one of the things about the capture software is that's one of the selling points they made is it's for video creators who aren't necessarily gamers because the capture software won't work for gaming. And as a result, they focused on simpler things for people that would be live streaming. And so the Logitech capture software will run YouTube videos through the second camera. And I can put it as the main cam. I can do it as a split screen. I can do it as a pick and pick. I could also do anything that's on my screen as well. I can connect it to the YouTube studio, and I think I can do two cameras. And the only reason I would really ever want two cameras is if I were doing live streams and I had trains running and I was wanting to show a specific thing. I don't know. Bells and whistles, y'all know how that is. I'm going to go move my chicken, and I'll be right back. I'm reading chat. I'm looking very forward to Sparky. Now, Sparky, the shed's going to be the studio too, right? You're going to do the shed's going to be layout, train room, train studio, all that, right? All right. All right. I must have had those dimensions off. There's no way that's 10%. Well, maybe it is now that I look at it again. All right, what time we got? 10 more minutes and I'm going to get off. Unless somebody says Nate's not going. Because we got Nate and then we got Tom. If you're watching my stream, I'm sure basically every one of you is already aware, but just in case, somebody put the name of Nate's channel because I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. He's coming on in 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then Tom's Trains and Things comes on at 8. That's Tom's Trains and Things. Or Nate at... I can spell it, but I can't say it. I'm going to say it wrong. That's at 7. Nate's at 7. Tom's at 8 tonight. Tuesday night is On Track Tuesday. On Track Tuesday this week is not Tony. Oh, Benny. Is it Benny? Benny. Wednesday night, beloved Sir Sparky. Thursday night, Hot Rod Rodney might go. Friday night, Vinny BNSF 6951, and Saturday morning is Track Smack 10 or 11. 10. BNSF 6951 is Eastern 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Sparky is Eastern 7 o'clock. BNSF 6951 is Eastern 8 o'clock Friday. That's what it is. Okay. Sparky is 7 on Wednesday. Sparky 107 107. BNSF 6951 is 8 o'clock Friday. Gotcha. All right. So what I'm going to have to do now is figure out exactly. I'm going to kind of come in with some markers and stuff. I've got a black marker. And what I'm going to do is mark what can stay, because it is a relative circle other than this area right here. I've got about 2.5 inches from here to where the outside of the helix beams start. So I'm going to have to make sure I'm not coming in a whole lot further than 2.5 inches. And then other than that, I've got a circular area that's going to stay in here, and pretty much all this foam's going to have to come out. Basically, all straight down for the most part, just to be safe. Pretty much directly with these boards, all that's going to have to come out. And I'm going to do that, cut this out, make sure I got this cleaned up as good as I can, check measurements in here to make sure none of this over here affects it. And once I've got my solid piece in the middle and we're out to 47 inches here, chop out that extra great stuff foam over there, clean everything up, and then I'm going to go focus on the right-hand turnout. That's going to come on level 5 up there. And then we'll be getting ready to drop that guy in there this coming weekend. We'll be shooting a video on that. Won't be doing that live. I want to thank all y'all for coming in and hanging out with us today. My chicken's ready pretty much. Ribs will be cooking for a couple more hours. I look forward to seeing y'all and actually getting to chat a little bit with y'all over at Nate's. As well as probably we'll see most of y'all at Tom's tonight as well. I don't know what either of their topics are. But again, Nate tonight, Tom tonight, probably Benny Tuesday, Sparky Wednesday, Rodney Thursday, Cousin Vinny Friday, and Steve B Track Smack Saturday. Thanks everybody for stopping in and staying and hanging out with me so long today. It was fun. It was good to go live again with y'all. It's been a long time since I've done that. I will update y'all on the RAM thing, because once we figure out if the RAM and the capture works, I'm going to try to find a time to where I can go live each week and just get kind of get my feet wet doing it. Not trying to get any kind of prime time spot or anything like that. I just like to get my feet wet doing it, where I do a shout out or two each week as well, where I talk about other channels or other videos, other interesting things for us, try to get a good list of good topics going, things that can be applicable to my layout, but not only that, y'all's layouts as well. And if I'm able to run capture and I can record my screen as one of the cameras, then that opens me up to possibly having some of y'all onto the show with me, which will make it really fun, and one of the goals that I've had back since about March. So thank all y'all for being here today. Happy Columbus Day. For archive purposes, it is Columbus Day on 2019. This is Brian with the Denver and Rio Grande Western Iron Horse Route. About to go tear some more stuff up, and I'll see y'all at Nate's in about 15 minutes. Thank y'all very much for coming in today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care.